Nerd Rage Renegades.
Alright, so we're live. Hey everybody, it's your two favorite sad man children coming to you with a new episode. Cause we're sad man children. We're just sad, pathetic man children. Oh my god, we're sad.
Yeah, for the backstory, everybody, we got an erroneous comment on
I've
one
got
of
it right
Spence.
here. I've got it right here. Alright, so
On his playthrough, like for a game. Like, what are you talking about?
okay, so I got this. I picked up this new game over the weekend called Blue Reflector. It's a Japanese RPG, and it's just that. It's a Japanese RPG. It's about almost in a way. It kind of reminds me of Valis, the old games on the Genesis and the TurboGrafx 16. You're a Japanese schoolgirl who ends up getting magical girl powers and fights monsters and stuff in this other world. But being a Japanese RPG, it's a lot of, talking, as most JRPGs are. It's a lot of dialogue, and it's all in Japanese, but with American subtitles. But I'm like, you know what? I'm into JRPGs. I'm gonna stream this to YouTube. I'm gonna capture the gameplay footage. That way, I'll just put it up there, so people can watch the game, the story unfold. And last night we got one comment, and it was in Japanese. I'm like, oh, I can't this was in the live chat. Somebody wrote something in Japanese. I'm like, hey, I don't know what that means, but hey, how's it going? So,
Yeah.
So I get up today, and I'm cleaning and reorganizing the vault here, which it looks phenomenal. Chief saw pictures. It's looking really, really good.
It looks good.
And a notification pops up on my phone that we had a comment on the part 2 of my gameplay for Blue Reflector, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is.
Yeah. By the way, you can go ahead and delete mine. I wrote a really, really harsh response back. I'm just fucking around just because I felt like being a mean
and you
dick,
put it and you put it on the first video. He put his on the second video. That's all good. So,
that's why I couldn't. Okay,
yeah.
I was wondering.
So, and I did remove the comment, not because of what it said, but because it had no relevance to the video whatsoever. If you're gonna comment on the video, comment on the video. But so this person, 4 years of imminent world war by this dictator avoided. And first and foremost, dude, I don't know if you listen to the show or what, but dude, your picture is Hillary Clinton dressed as Hitler. Where the fuck is your mind at? I mean, seriously.
Is that I couldn't really see it. You just sent me a screen cap of it.
It's Hillary Clinton in Nazi regalia. Dude, first and foremost, dude, fuck off with that shit. That's fucking just... What? So, but the comment goes, Guardians of the Galaxy is a shitty movie. Most Marvel movies are trash, and you guys are two very sad man-children. When's the last time we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy? Was it when Guardians 2 came out?
Maybe when Guardians 2 came out.
And what did I say about it?
Oh.
Howard the Duck's in it for like 2.5 seconds, and that's why I loved it, because of Howard the Duck being in it, and Kurt Russell's very impressive mustache. Because, come on, you can't deny that's an impressive mustache.
Yeah.
And
I don't even remember what I said about it. I know I didn't care for it as much as the first one, but I don't recall ever just saying it was a great movie.
and let's see, most Marvel movies are trash. Now, dude, if you're a DC fanboy trying to talk shit on Marvel, do you not understand we are affiliate reviewers for DC Comics? Are you?
Well,
fuck, man, dude, seriously. Troll, don't feed the trolls, don't feed the trolls. I'm not feeding the troll. I'm just, shoving a firecracker up the troll's ass. And
Yeah,
you
no.
guys, and you guys are two very sad man children. Yeah, man children that have more life experience than probably you do, motherfucker. You know, I've been to war twice. Chief's been living in the harsh city of Chicago and ran with some of the most dangerous gangs in Chicago. You know, we ain't no man children, man. We man, and from America. Damn it. Fuck.
I live in Rockford, actually, and yeah,
Well, close to Chicago. It's close to Chicago.
I would just say that I would say that it hasn't been an easy run by any means.
No, we have both lived life. Let's put it that way. We have both lived life. You know,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
in our golden years, we're talking about things we love, and
this is definitely the kind of guy that makes a comment like this he would never say it to my face.
Never.
He'd never. He just wouldn't do it because he's a smarmy little cunt that likes to get on internet comment things where he's safe and talk shit to people who could kick his teeth down his throat. So that's all fine and good, dude. I'm just saying one day it's maybe it won't be us, it won't be me or Spin or anybody, but somebody's gonna hand you your ass just for being the way you are. So I know karma's gonna get you in the end.
It's not so much the fact that you made this comment, dude. It's not. It's the fact you made the comment about Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy on a gameplay video of a Japanese RPG. It would have made more. I mean, if you put that on a podcast, if you put that on one of the podcast, videos, because we uploaded the podcast to YouTube. If you had put it on one of those, then I could have, then it would have been okay, But you put it on a gameplay video, at least if you're gonna troll with a comment like that, put it on a relative,
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you listen to one of the podcasts that are like just the audio form on YouTube, and maybe that's what he's trying to comment on. But it's been months since we've talked about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
I can't recall specifically talking. As my memory sucks, so I mean, we very well may have mentioned it or something here and there, but we haven't gone into any detail about whether we like or dislike Guardians of the Galaxy. Shit, it's been episodes and episodes at least.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it last episode with them canceling the book because they're making way for the Infinity series that's coming out. The Infinity series.
Yeah, that's the book. So we were talking about that.
I don't know what he's talking about the MCU. I'm not mad at the comment, man. I'm mad at I don't know what the hell you're trying to reference. Give me a reference point. That way I know what's going on. Like
a valid criticism would be fine, but he's got to throw in the fucking insult. So that's why I went and wrote a shitty comment back.
Well, I'm sitting there going, well, I know episode 1 of this show we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy, but that was 4 years ago? I mean, this is episode 172. We're talking about a long time ago, back when we were really angry. I mean, now, if you had made the comment like this back at, around episode 1, episode 2, Chief and I probably would have had a lot more worse things to say, because back then we were very angry. Well,
I would even go so far as to say back then the show wasn't even as good, because this was all new.
Oh,
this was all us starting to do something. So we'd had a podcast for a year before that, and then started this one, and it was still pretty because we had like 7 people on the old podcast.
Yeah.
And it was like we barely had time to get any words in, and then now it's just the two of us having to fill a whole bunch of time. And we used to run the show a lot longer too. We'd go 2-3 hours.
Yeah, it was a long.
We used to run a long time. Now we cut it down to like an hour, maybe hour 20.
With the reviews, it goes about an hour 20, hour and a half. But we had cut it down to an hour, and then it went to the hour 30 because we're throwing in the DC comic reviews. But we always make sure that the reviews are at the end. So if you just want to hear the bulk of the main show, that's that core first hour. And then after that's just review, so if you want to stay for that, that's cool. But, if you only want to listen to the core show, it's that first hour. We didn't about that.
We didn't cut it down for lack of things to talk about either. We could sit here literally if we had the energy, we could sit here and talk for 12 straight hours about
yeah.
name one title of any comic book, and we could sit here and we could extrapolate on that for probably 12 hours and just bore the shit out of everybody else.
Oh yeah.
But we cut it down for the audience's purposes, because we know people don't want to hear us ramble about Ghost Rider for 12 hours.
Or maybe you do. You don't know. I mean, you know, hey, you guys.
We try to throw it in a little bit for everybody. That's
a little bit
try to even it out and to keep it short so you don't get bored.
Yeah, and if I could just put one more thing on there, you know, and this is just this is actually going to be honking our own horn here. Calling us sad man-children who look at the people who've been on this show. So, you know what? Double finger salute to you. So that's all you're going to get on my show. Let's talk about something really cool that happened, which I sent to Chief at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning the other morning.
Oh, wait, before we move on, though, do we want to curse this guy with the voodoo candle?
So Chief has the Santeria. Now, we don't practice Santeria. We ain't got no crystal ball. Chief and I used to have $1 million, but we kind of spent it all. But Chief has a Santeria candle.
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly sure what this is. La Santísima Muerte, and it's the Saintly Death candle, and supposedly. What I did a little research on it today, and I found out I've actually got the wrong color. So we probably won't light this tonight because I got to get a different one.
Okay.
We need the black one for the revenge and malevolent spell. So I haven't had the white one, which is for something I can't remember, but it's for something completely different.
People don't they don't seem to understand that we're like on first name basis with Black Phillip. I mean, he allowed us to use his effigy as our logo. You know, that's saying something when Black Phillip himself allows us to use his effigy.
we should reaffirm that we're fucking around and we're not really Satanists or anything.
You know, pay no attention to the evil Prince of Darkness sleeping on our couch.
I actually find Satanism kind of humorous and funny, and I poke fun at it a lot, and as I do Christianity and any other religions I do.
No, those are vampire kids. We're fucking goths. Those are vampire kids. Damn.
I don't think any religion is above getting a little fun poked at it.
Definitely. But let's talk about something good that happened. Big key, a big key win for me this weekend. Big key win. I beat Batman on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw there's pictures. Man, you've been on a roll. Okay, what's so far?
All right, so far
you've beat just the Facebook post that I've seen. There's been like at least 4, I think.
Okay, so Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Punch Out, Ninja Gaiden, Little Nemo, The Dream Master, and now Batman on NES. I've been on a fucking roll, and I'm talking. Apart from Little Nemo, which people may not think is a hard game. I mean, it's strategy. There's some strategy to it, but the other ones, I mean, beating fucking Punch Out and Zelda 2, Gaiden.
A lot of people beat Punch Out, but I mean, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
I think I've even beaten it once, I believe, way back in the day when it was Mike Tyson's Punch Out when it first came out.
But I mean, people have beaten it. I mean, we've watched Mike Matei beat these games before on Cinemassacre and stuff like that. But it's still people.
It's an accomplishment either way because
it definitely is.
It's hard to do. It's not easy shit.
And it's one of those things where in the gaming community, when you beat one of those type of games, if the person, it's still seen as a fantastic job because there are still so many people out there that have never beaten these, and especially the Joker in Batman. He's a fucking bitch. I mean, I've spent I will not lie. I'm not saying I one-shotted this shit because I didn't. I spent 2 hours on that final stage. 2 fucking hours. So the final stage of this game is the fucking bell tower. It's the fucking cathedral. You know, at the end of the Tim Burton Batman, the cathedral where he fights the Joker and throws him off.
Is there actually a points counter in that game?
Yeah, there's a points counter. So you get up there, and there's certain you got to go up. You got to like go up the tower. And I know there's a way that there's 2 points in the tower. I know there's a way to do it, but I can't get it down. But there's 2 points where I have to take damage. Otherwise, I'm never going to make it up there. So I take damage. You're trying to fight these enemies on these little fucking platforms. And then you get up there, and you fight a mid-boss. You fight a boss before the Joker. And I'm pulling it up to see who it is. Because the characters in the game... There are Batman characters, but it's weird. Like Firefly's in the game as a boss. The Electrocutioner's in the game as a boss. Firebug is the one. Firebug is the boss right before Joker.
Yeah.
Now you tell me in the Tim Burton Batman movie, where was Firefly, Firebug, and Electrocutioner? No, it's Killer Moth. I mean Killer Moth. Not Firefly, it's Killer Moth.
I would have sworn that there was some sort of backhanded reference or like background introduction of one of those other villains, but I can't remember where I heard that or if it's true or not.
So you beat Firebug, and then you go right to the Joker. Well, the good thing is if you beat Firebug and you die on the Joker, and you have to go through the whole level again, Firebug's still dead. You don't have to fight Firebug again. So you go right to the Joker. Well, the Joker, first of all, his gunshot will take 3 to 4 hit points away from you like that, like right off the bat if he hits you with your gun. And then the Joker...
Does he look like the Jack Nicholson Joker in the game?
He looks like the Joker. I mean, he's got the big purple suit on and everything. He kind of looks more like Cesar Romero Joker, but he also stands like 2 feet taller than the Batman character. But the Joker can also summon lightning in the game.
Yeah.
He can summon down.
Yeah, I know I played that game, but I never got near that level on it. I must have gave up long before I got
like 2 hours. I mean, literally 2 hours, and finally I got him down to where I mimic his moves. I get right up to his gun to where he can't really shoot me, and I just spam the Batarang, which is another thing in this final level because you have to make sure you get you max out your weapons to 99. Because you need every fucking Batarang. It takes literally. I think from the picture. I had 99 Batarangs going in, and I think I ended with 43 when I finally killed Joker. So it took that many Batarangs to fucking kill this dude. So I'm sitting there, and I'm at 1 point of health left. I'm like, fuck. And all of a sudden, he just slumps over. I'm like, sitting there with my controller in my hand, what? So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta grab my phone, because if you don't have proof, it didn't happen. So I grab my phone and I just start snapping pictures, and and I make sure that people can see it's on my TV. It's not like my computer. I'm not emulating it. It's on my fucking TV here, and I'm just like, holy fuck. I'm like, shit, dude, I fucking.
There is a difference between beating something now as opposed to beating something like that, because. Even on PlayStation, when I first beat Resident Evil 2. When I finally beat that boss down on the train car thing with the rocket launchers, I remember just flipping. I spent 12 hours straight playing that game without eating or moving, and just played Resident Evil 2 for 12 hours. And it might have even been longer than that. I don't remember. I just remember just sitting on my bed just playing it forever. And when I finally beat it, I just remember just freezing and just watching the final animax. And it's so frustrating with Resident Evil because when the game's over, you gotta wait for those credits, the whole credits, because I'm waiting, thinking maybe something else, especially on Resident Evil 2. I thought maybe something else was gonna happen because the credits start rolling. And
an epilogue or something that.
Yeah, there's something, there's nothing, and then just gives you your score. But, it's so exciting to finally, especially if you spend a lot of hours doing it.
Especially these games, if you played them as a kid, when you were 6, 7 years old, you're playing it, and you really didn't know what you were doing, and now that and then you would go back to them periodically through your your life, and you're you still couldn't beat them, and then one night, just the stars align, it's a blue moon, Gemini is in freaking full view, and you just and that's the way it's been. That was how it was with Ninja Gaiden, because Ninja Gaiden's it's not so much the last boss is a bitch, it's the fact that the whole game's a fucking bitch. you know. And now it's like I've gone back through after I beat Punch Out. I've been going back through, you know, just periodically because it's one of those games where like if I got like 5 minutes, I'll see how many people I can get through, you know, in like in that time frame I got to play a game. So
Yeah.
I'm getting it like down to where I can get up to like Soda Pop Imsky in probably like 10 minutes, you know, just fucking rapid fire. But beating Batman, I was just like, oh, I can, because that's what I've been practicing on. I've been playing that one for probably a good 6 months, just like ever since I bought it, just like playing it, and I finally did it. So now now I got two here that I'm working on. I'm working on Tiny Toon Adventures, which before I had to turn it off today, I got to level 4 out of 6. And then I got Rygar. So those are two that I'm looking at that I'm testing right now just to have fun with. So
I remember recently one of the ones when one of the Poison Ivy levels in is it Arkham City or I can't remember which one of the Arkham games it is, but the Poison Ivy level we got to keep going up the levels.
Yeah.
And oh man, that took me forever to finally beat that. I'm surprised the neighbors didn't call the cops on me when I finally beat that. Go, yeah, you motherfucker! Fuck
that's
you.
like when we both. That's like when we both bought Arkham Knight and we started playing Arkham Knight, and I was like getting farther from you, and you're like, I can't beat the fucking Batmobile level. It's like the fucking Batmobile part.
Man,
and then you finally did.
Those games are the best and some of the most frustrating like puzzles sometimes. Like some of the Riddler shit drives me crazy.
Yeah, that shit drives me nuts. You know, but nowadays we can just go online and say, "Oh, that's how you do it." You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was. I remember when with Resident Evil, I think it was Resident Evil 2. I had to go buy the book for some part of it because I could not figure it out for the life of me how to get a couple of the items that you needed, like one of the keys or something. I was like forever stuck on it, and then you couldn't. There was no like online to go get that shit. So you had to like go buy a book. They sold those books,
yeah,
like
the Brady Games books and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, Chief and I have been discussing this week, and we've decided that this year, 2018, we are going to start educating the masses. We're going to bring you into our classroom, the comic classroom, and we're going to start talking and educating you about comic book characters, comic book teams, things like that. That way people understand more about these characters. And we're not going to go through, you know, this is Captain America. We're going to have a couple of those type of key characters, but a lot of also obscure characters that people may not know about, obscure teams. And what better one?
Why they're important and why they're still around and why.
Yeah. You know, why Mad Dog is the man. You know, things like that. And we thought, what better way? We're going to start off. We're going to start off this week and next week.
Baxter.
This week and next week with two of our favorite characters. So this week we're going to start off. We're going to teach you the history of none other than the great Howard the Duck, and why Chief and I have said for years that Howard is one of the most important characters in the entire Marvel universe.
He served a great purpose at one time.
He really did. So Howard the Duck, and I put the movie out of your brain right now, because that's usually where everybody goes to right off the bat is the fucking movie. And I love the movie. I own it on VHS. I own it on Blu-ray. I own it on DVD. I just need the Laserdisc and maybe some other obscure fucking format.
Is it out there? Have you checked?
I've seen one on eBay. Yeah, I've seen one on eBay, and I didn't pick it up at that point. But Howard the Duck, 1973, debuted. Created by Steve Gerber and Val Mayerick in Adventure into Fear number 19, which Adventure into Fear was one of those kind of like anthology books where you'd have a character for a certain amount of time and then another character would take over the series.
Yeah. For instance, Morbius, I think, was took over after Man-Thing, I think, was the one it was the one right after Man-Thing.
Yeah. So he appeared in Adventure into Fear number 19, which was at that point starring Man-Thing. And we all love the Man-Thing.
Especially giant.
Oh, love giant-sized Man-Thing. And the thing is Steve Gerber, who we had to talk about. He was known. He wrote a lot of the weirder books for Marvel. He wrote those things like Man-Thing, Son of Satan. He actually did write Guardians of the Galaxy for a bit. He wrote some Daredevil books.
He wrote an episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
He wrote stories for the Incredible Hulk. Shauna he wrote Shauna the She-Devil. He wrote 20 issues of Daredevil, 3 issues of Iron Man, 11 issues of Submariner. Monsters Unleashed, Chamber of Chills. He wrote Journey into Mystery. I mean, Gerber wrote a lot of those like weird characters. You know, those weird stories. He also, people who may have followed this guy in Deadpool, he introduced the original Fool Killer. He came up with the original Fool Killer. So that's a little bit of trivia there. But so Avenger of the Fear was running this story where the Man-Thing, there was stuff going on in the Nexus of All Realities.
Yeah.
Now I don't think I don't think.
Sorry, I was trying to find that episode of Star Trek that he wrote. I was trying to find the title.
Now, Chief, I don't think a lot of people fully understand what the Nexus of All Realities is. They understand, Infinity Stones and things like that, but I don't think they understand the Nexus.
Yeah, well, it's a place in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
The Nexus of All Realities. I think that's the full actual title of it, right? And the Man-Thing is its guardian.
So
and I'm not sure. It's like a portal, and it goes to like all kinds of different places. Though the Man-Thing can manipulate it in order to take you anywhere. It's a portal to wherever you want to go. I think it can be used to travel.
Yeah.
To like any part of the universe.
Yeah, it's kind of like that gateway to all realities. Anything is
possible. They used it recently in a red. I think it was in a Red She-Hulk book. They used it. They went to see the Machine Man, and Red She-Hulk went to the Man-Thing, and they had to use the Nexus and went back to some other time. I think it was actually when the Hulk was attacking or so, or some alternate reality. It can also be like used to go to alternate realities, I think.
Yeah, and to this day, they've never really said who created the Nexus. It's kind of like a waypoint where the multiverse and realities all kind of intersect. And Man-Thing watches it because if the Nexus gets fucked up, everything gets fucked up. The Nexus kind of holds everything kind of together, all those, because otherwise all realities, all parallel universes would kind of start meshing, and things would get real fucked up and weird, and it would be Cronenberg. It'd be Cronenberg more.
It's weird that they don't refer. They've been using they've been doing the Infinity Stone thing for so long. It's like they hardly ever reference it. Aside from that Red She-Hulk story just from a few years back, I don't recall them referencing it at all, like, lately. It's such an important... It used to be really important in a lot of stories back in the day.
Yeah, and that's one of Man-Thing's main things. So, Man-Thing is in the Nexus, and there's multiple characters in the Nexus. Wizards, barbarians... they are all being pulled into the Nexus in this story arc because there's going to be like this big battle. And in the very final pages of 19, comes walking out this little cigar-smoking, at the time, yellow duck. Wearing spats, and he's got a fedora on. And... he's going to be part of this huge battle with the Nexus. Sadly, he ends up falling off the cosmic stairs, which are another thing in the Nexus. And if you fall off the cosmic stairs, they basically say, well, you're kind of fucked. There's no way to save your ass if you fall off the cosmic stairs. But Howard, so he falls off the stairs, and then Howard would then show up in backup stories in Giant Size Man-Thing, because Adventure into Fear 19 was the final one with Man-Thing before Morbius took over in Adventure into Fear number 20. So, because Man-Thing was getting his own story. Man-Thing was getting his own book. So, Howard was in 19, he was in Man-Thing number 1, and then he fell off the cosmic stairs and then would start showing up in stories in Giant Size Man-Thing, which those stories actually introduced Bessie the Hell Cow. And we all love the Hell Cow.
Of course. I had first appearance of Hell Cow.
And then he would end up getting, in 1976, he would get his own book, Howard the Duck. Now, the thing with Howard was his books were not set in New York, which most Marvel stories are set in New York. Howard was in Cleveland, Ohio. Which he would always reference, why the hell did he end up in fucking Cleveland, Ohio? And it's always funny to me that in New York, you know, you have Iron Man flying through, you know, the sky. You have Spider-Man swinging. You have the Incredible Hulk, you know, doing his shit. Ghost Rider. But then everybody's weirded out by a talking duck. You have, you know, the Fantastic Four fighting Mole Men and Galactus on a daily basis, yet a talking duck in Cleveland, Ohio is like the weirdest thing anybody's ever fucking seen.
And it was, the book itself is unlike anything Marvel put out at the time. I mean, it was a weird, like, it was like this, it wasn't all about necessarily the capes, and it was kind of its own thing.
It was a satirical book for the most part.
Yeah, it was a satire and a political commentary, and
yeah. Well, you know, the commentary on politics, the youth of the nation, what was in at the time.
It was kind of really like almost like a really light-hearted. I think of it kind of as a really light-hearted version of like what R. Crumb was doing at the Underground comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Not as X-rated, you know, just like a.
Well, that there's one whole issue where, I want to say it might have been, what was it, number 4? So Howard and Beverly. Now Beverly Switzler, unlike the movie where she's a musician, in the book she's a model. She's an aspiring model. And her and Howard do, you know, form a friendship and a bond. And but they go and they see a kung fu movie. So this is like the late 70s. So kung fu exploitation films are big. And they go see a kung fu movie, and all these kids are loving kung fu movies. And one thing leads to another, to where Howard has to go and be trained in the art of Quack Fu and become a martial arts master in order to defeat this guy in the book. So it's all, it's all satirical. Howard ran for president. There was a whole
Shang-Chi ran into Howard in that, didn't he?
Shang-Chi ran into Howard. The first issue of Howard had Spider-Man.
I think it's not the third one, is it? Was Shang-Chi in it? I don't remember.
I gotta pull it out. But Spider-Man's been in there. Shang-Chi shown up with him. He's had a suit of Howard had a suit of armor made, and he became the Iron Duck, which basically he looked like a walking fire hydrant with springs on his feet. He, like I said, he ran for president against Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter.
Well, most recently, he's Deadpool the Duck. There's a version of Howard as Deadpool.
Howard is a very important character because throughout everything, he's kind of been that character that has always said... He's been kind of like, if you really want to think about it, Howard is that voice of reason in an unreasonable world in Marvel. He's always questioning why this shit is happening, when this is just, it would be just easier to do this thing instead of these grandiose things that happen in the Marvel universe. I mean, like, when he was running for president, he said, "I'm going to run on a very loose platform. What you're going to, I'm not just going to speak it. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about." You know, so everywhere he went, he would take video cameras. And the only reason he lost the election was because people were mad that he was in a relationship with a human. They didn't like the cross species relationship. It was a scandal that he was He was found. The pictures surfaced of Howard in a bathtub with Beverly, and it caused a big stir that he had to drop out of the presidential race. But to this day, I campaign for Howard every election year.
Yeah, you do.
I do. So Howard, unlike everybody else, where villains will show up, Howard kind of falls into his stories. Like he should. It's all by circumstance that these things happen to him. He never
like everything since the beginning. To even how he even got into the Marvel universe was all just by accident.
It's totally by accident, but along the way, Howard has become important. He's always showing up in weird places. His main source of income is he's a taxi driver. He was a taxi driver in Cleveland, but he's also been called in by Doctor Strange from time to time. The Marvel Treasury Edition. I actually have it now put up, Chief, over here. That you bought me. Howard the Duck Marvel Treasury Edition, where he is with the Defenders.
Yeah. It seems like the weird big cosmic entities like Eternity and the Living Tribunal and shit. It's almost like they manipulate the beings of the Marvel universe, and somehow Howard is this. It almost in the same way that Bilbo Baggins was chosen to get the ring in The Hobbit. Howard has been chosen for major cosmic events that he was a part of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole story of Man-Thing. Now this was a later version. This was a later series of Man-Thing where the Nexus was broken up into like fragments. Like something happened with the Nexus, and one of the fragments of the Nexus was in Howard.
Yeah.
So Man-Thing literally had to like take his arm and like gelatinize it and shove it down Howard's throat to get the piece of the Nexus, because Howard was like a ticking time bomb with this piece of Nexus inside of him. And Howard he's run for president. He had in my opinion, he had one of the best side stories in the original Civil War event. When all the superheroes had to register because of the Super Registration Act.
Tax-free. Tax-free duck.
Howard went to register in Cleveland as a superhero, and Bev was dressed up as his sidekick. And they go to the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters to get registered, and S.H.I.E.L.D. pulls out this huge file of everything bad that's happened because of Howard the Duck in Cleveland, and has said, we're not even going to acknowledge your existence. We are not going to even acknowledge that you exist. There is no such thing as Howard the Duck on our books. And Beverly was upset. She was like, I'm so sorry. And Howard's like, what are you talking about? I don't exist. I don't have to pay taxes. I don't have to pay all these parking tickets I've got. I'm fucking a free duck, Now, sadly, that got overturned later on. He ended up getting his recognition back. She-Hulk represented him in court and got him reinstated. But for people who may not read other stories in the Marvel universe, like other books, you don't really know how important Howard is. If you don't read Marvel Zombies, you don't know how important Howard is. Howard led a team in Marvel Zombies 5 to quell the Marvel Zombie infestation. It was him and Machine Man.
Yeah, well, it's weird too that he's associated with those characters tend to run in that Man-Thing, Machine Man, Howard, She-Hulk. There's a certain core group around Howard. Franklin Richards, to a degree, is kind of included in that.
Yep, the Daydreamers story. There was a 3 or 4 issue book called Daydreamers. And it was like Franklin Richards, a couple characters from, I think, Generation X, and Howard. And they were all in, Franklin's, weird, made-up world.
Yeah. Well, I'm not... I have to go do some back reading with Fantastic Four. There's a certain era of Fantastic Four that I'm missing from lore. But I know in the 80s, Franklin Richards was this godlike being that was... beyond her level capabilities. assuming that because of Reed and Sue's cosmic rays or whatever, Franklin turned out to be some sort of like a hugely powerful god. But I'm not. He like in the later on, like in the Hickman Fantastic Four and stuff. He doesn't. He's super intelligent, but he doesn't seem to use that godlike power that he has. Or maybe when he did the Heroes Reborn thing, I think is when he recreated the universe, and maybe he expended all the energy. I'm not entirely sure. I have to go back and reread that. But we're talking about Howard, not Franklin Richards. So we'll talk about Franklin Richards another time.
We'll get to Franklin Richards in due time. Howard would always his original book ran for about 33 issues. And 30 to 33 issues, and let me make sure. I'm the Howard the Duck expert, and I need to make sure I get that right.
Yeah, that's the there's things I don't. We
33 issues. It was 33 issues. And then Howard would start showing up in different books. He would show up in Ghost Rider. He would show up in She-Hulk. He in fact, in the Ghost Rider story arc that he showed up in, Jennifer Kale, who we don't see much, I think she was in Weird World during Secret Wars.
Yeah, she was Doctor Strange's wife, right? And then he abandoned her to the dark dimension or some shit.
She's a sorceress. I know who you're talking about. I don't know, was that her that Doctor Strange, or am I thinking about the other one? I know who you're talking about. But she's a sorceress we don't see much anymore. You know, you got Doctor Strange as a sorcerer.
Well, she came back in that Fearless Defenders arc, and when all the boyfriends came back, I think that's where she was bitching at Doctor Strange for abandoning her in some dimension for so long or something.
Was that her, or there's another? Was that Clea?
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. Yeah, whatever happened to it? No, didn't she go off and ascend to some godhood or something?
No, she was. Clea returns, and it is revealed that she had been hiding in Odin's Hall thanks to Valkyrie, who comes to ask a favor of her to restore the recently deceased Annabelle Riggs to life after performing a spell to resurrect her, which causes Annabelle and Valkyrie. Clea was the one in Fearless Defenders.
Right, okay, all right. And then but Jennifer Kale, didn't she ascend to some other level of existence or something? And
something like that. Yeah, she's been. She was there when Howard was first brought in with the Nexus and everything like that. And she is the one that kind of ended up bringing Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur into modern day at one point. And Devil Dinosaur actually tried to eat Howard until Johnny Blaze intercepted and saved him. We'll do a Jennifer Kale episode at one point. She's a forgotten character.
See, yeah, exactly. There's stuff. There's so many characters in the Marvel universe that it would be impossible to know all of everything about them. That's why I've always said I don't know everything about all these characters. Even I got to go and research some shit once in a while.
Yeah,
because there's so much. There's decades and decades of stories and reboots and other universes and continuity and
so many. And Howard would never, very rarely was he ever big in main story. It was always those side stories. So Fear Itself is a perfect example, where you had the main Fear Itself, but if anybody who read Fear Itself knows, there was a shit ton of Fear Itself tie-in books.
Oh yeah, it goes on forever, man. And a lot of them are in the back issue bins at my shop.
Oh yeah. So there was a series called The Fearsome Four in Fear Itself, and that was She-Hulk, Frankenstein's monster, Nighthawk, and Howard trying to stop Man-Thing. Because Man-Thing, he who knows fear burns at the touch of the Man-Thing. Man-Thing has this like empathic ability. So with Fear itself, Man-Thing goes fucking berserk. He goes fucking nutsoid. And they have to team up to take down Man-Thing because Man-Thing could literally destroy everything if he's left unchecked. So you had that.
Yeah.
He was in an issue of Wolverine and the X-Men where he teamed up with Dupe. He's worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. And now he's a private eye in New York based off the newest series, which I gotta figure out how he went to, because I'm probably missing something where he transitioned.
Is Zdarsky still writing it? Who's writing it now?
Well, he doesn't have a book right now. He shows up from time to time in like Squirrel Girl and those type of books.
I don't even know where that last series ended. I started getting it like the first 4 or 5, and then I was like, I don't care. I don't like it that much.
So that book, they had found they had found instead of the Infinity Gauntlet, there was the Abundant Glove. And throughout those series, like Howard, he would do that. It was a point where he ended up getting the power Cosmic. It became like Silver Surfer Duck. He worked with Gwenpool for a while to try to get her acclimated to the 616 universe. He had a resurgence, which I really like that he had a resurgence, but I feel that the stories that were written, like, I was kind of upset that I felt Dr. Bong should have been in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's where you get that one reference to, wasn't it? Like Superior Foes or something. You get that one reference to Dr. Bong in the super villain support group.
Yeah. A lot of stuff with Squirrel Girl. I mean, they hyped up a lot with Howard. There was like Howard variant covers for like every book, which I really enjoyed, and I've got them all. But
yeah, well, it's the times are different though too, because like the 70s was such a different when Howard first came on the scene in the 70s. The comics, the way they were even written and what was going on in comics was completely different. So it's a different world now. So I guess it's the new world interpretation of Howard that's out these days.
And something that they did pinpoint. Now, another thing I really enjoyed was that when Howard hadn't been seen for a while, like I said, those very short, side stories or whatnot. Then they came out with the original Sin story arc. Remember, the Watcher's Eye and all that.
Yeah.
And they had a series which was like Original Sins, and it was like 3 different stories of different Marvel characters.
Yeah, I remember that
and their
one.
sins. And they showed one of Howard where, reading it, you find out that Howard was actually, if he had stayed on Duckworld, if he had never been taken through the Nexus, he would have been like the smartest person on Duckworld. He would have been like this unfound genius on Duckworld. So it kind of shows that Howard, even though he's not on Duckworld, he still has this really high IQ, this really huge intelligence, that he sees things people don't. He can understand things people don't. And that's why I think Marvel could utilize him better, because he does have that intellect. I mean, they're pretty much saying on Duckworld he would have been almost on the same par as like a Tony Stark or a Reed Richards with his intelligence. And how cool would that be to see, like, Stark or Richards and Howard all standing there trying to figure out, like, some multiversal problem. I mean, I think that would just be great. And it would relegate him. It would put him, back in the forefront instead of him being relegated to 2-second cameos in Guardians of the Galaxy, man, children.
No, I think it would be cool if they did a Howard movie, but they did it like a period movie and set it in the 70s and did like the original stories, like somehow put a story together with the original.
The worst thing about the Howard the Duck movie, so here's some more about the history of Howard when you get all this put in. Howard the Duck was the first theatrically released Marvel film. Before that, everything was a TV movie. Everything was on TV. The Red Browns, the
My favorite.
the Incredible Hulk. Those were all TV movies. Howard was the first Marvel film actually released in theaters. So right there, big thing. And it was produced by George Lucas. Now
major failure, to be fair, when it was out. But it's since kind of gained kind of
a cult movie. Yeah, it's a cult movie. The worst things about that movie, I will tell you exactly the worst things about that movie. Tim Robbins and the principal from the pedophile principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Duck tits were kind of disturbing.
I don't even care about duck tits. I don't care. Duck tits, whatever.
It's just weird. It was just a weird choice.
Yeah, who cares? But it was a weird choice. It was like, oh, what?
It's like we never even showed tits in any of the comics ever, and all of a sudden there's
in the magazines they did though.
That is true. That could have been a nod to the scene with Howard and getting it on.
Yeah. In addition to the issues of the book, Howard had a magazine, and he had a Sunday comic strip in newspapers like Spider-Man does. And in the magazines could go, I guess, a little more mature than they could the comic books. I mean, Howard and Beverly actually sealed the deal in the Howard magazines. They actually, wink, nudge, nudge, wink, know what I mean?
If you can see the video feed of the show, Spin's actually showing the camera the offending panels many times.
Wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Wink, nudge, nudge. And those were actually, I like the magazines because they could go a little more. They could go a little more mature on those. I mean, there was one where they ended up on a duck world and things like that, and did more.
Marvel magazines were badass. Like the Conan ones. Oh man, they were just so violent and brutal. Like you would get this in the comics.
Those were fantastic. Oh god, So the movie. I liked Howard in the movie. I felt he did have his, the Howardness of it. He was surly, he was sarcastic, he hated the fact that he was on this planet, and you can't say Leah Thompson is amazing in anything she does. I love Leah Thompson. I think she's and she owns it. She owns the fact she was in Howard the Duck. When it came to the 25th anniversary, I mean, she had the jacket made, and she came back and she let them use her likeness in the comic book, for the Howard comic. She owns the fact that she was in Howard. She calls herself the First Lady of Marvel because she was literally the first woman in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You got to give her that. But Howard is I love the character because of the absurdness of him. And the different ways they show him in across the multiverse. I mean, and the fact that, when DC and Marvel crossed over, they made him the baddest motherfucker. They made him Lobo the Duck. They splurged. You could have thought anybody to put Howard with. They put him as Lobo. They put him with fucking the baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Yeah. Well, he was Lobo. Well, it was weird because Lobo and Wolverine fought during that. And I would have thought that it would have been a Lobo-Wolverine combo, but they combined Wolverine with Batman.
Dark Claw.
Yeah, which was cool too. But
yeah, and Jubilee was like Robin.
Yeah, it was Jubilee and Robin, Spider-Man and Superboy,
Captain America, and I think Bruce. It was
Superman and Captain America.
There was so many of them, and as we said on this show many times, they missed out on the Man-Thing. Swamp Thing. Instead,
that makes me almost wonder if there was some sort of copyright dispute or some legal thing.
Well, because
that seems like a given, man. That should have been
Well, they merged Man-Thing with Man-Bat to be Bat-Thing.
Well, yeah, it just seems like it would have been a no-brainer. Yeah,
or at least have them fight. But
I guess it is the weirdness of it, though. I wouldn't have said. I would have maybe said Nightwing and Spider-Man for some, I don't know. It would have been like, I don't know if I would have put some of those together either. Lobo the Duck was weird. I mean, I would have expected a. But then again, like Superman fought the Hulk in that contest when they had to fight
Yeah.
the DC heroes. So Superman fought the Hulk, which would have really been the only person he could have fought. Unless they could have got Hyperion, which would have been a little too obscure.
But still, really, Hyperion and Superman are basically because I mean, and we'll
They are.
you know,
He is Superman
well,
of
there's
Marvel.
another episode we'll give you Squadron Supreme as another
Yeah.
episode. And
It's
Chief's got the books with the guy's ashes in them, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I own Grunwald. No, I love Squadron Supreme, and it was kind of like Marvel. They were Marvel's Justice League, more or less. There's like an equivalent character to each, like Nighthawk is Batman. You got Hyperion is Superman, and on and on and on.
Yeah. It's a good story. It really is a good story. A good team. But I think with Howard, like he's one of those when people think of him, they think of the movie, they don't think of the character in the comics. They have this bad taste with the movie. They don't look at the comics as what they were, which were satirical. I mean, there was an annual issue where they mocked Star Wars, and the cover is like Star Wars, and Howard's Luke Skywalker and all this stuff. The villains were absurd in there. You had Dr. Bong. You had the space turnip. You had a giant beaver. You had just
That was that weird series, right? With the weird painted covers. Is that the one?
No.
Okay.
That was just regular series. You want to go to the Max series?
That's the Max series, yeah.
Well, we had the Max series, then we had the Media Duckling series, which was really good. The Max series. So, how do we describe?
They
Marvel
turned into
Max?
like a mouse or something.
Yeah. How do we describe Marvel Max? That was more like the adult Marvel cartoons or comics.
Yeah,
Like for mature readers, because it was like Punisher was in there.
Yeah,
with the
Punisher
Max
Max,
series.
Wolverine Max, which I didn't like. But yeah, there were a lot of Max books. Like Daredevil, I think was one of them.
So that series was just to make fun. The Max series with Howard was it was really satirizing everything. It satirized so many comic books and different comic imprints and comic things. So Howard he goes from a duck and he turns into a mouse, which was them mocking Mickey Mouse. Which also, that book had titties. That book had naked boobs in it. You had
Of course.
him and he ended up getting he inherited the douche blade, which caused him to grow boobs and armor like Witchblade. So it was the douche blade. Him and Beverly stayed at the boarding house of mystery. And at the end, Howard meets God, or a character claiming to be God. So Howard has met, if you want to go by it, Howard has met God. The only true Marvel character to ever meet God.
Yeah, I mean they avoid direct references to Christian mythos at all costs.
Yeah.
In Marvel and DC, really.
So, and this was Gerber returning to the series, and there was a big dispute for a while when Gerber left Marvel for a little bit over who owned Howard. And
Yeah, just the lawsuit here is on.
Yeah, there was a big lawsuit about Howard to where Gerber created a character called Destroyer Duck instead.
Kirby drew it, I think.
So, but everything ended up becoming copacetic after a little bit, and they got back together, and everything was great. Gerber knew how to write the character. Like, you can tell in the first part of Howard in the books where you could tell when Gerber was writing and when it took over by somebody else, it was just a little weird. Gerber understood the sarcasm and the satire. And also to point out, Howard is also the first comic book appearance of Kiss, the rock band Kiss.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, he wrote a lot of stuff for DC too. So I mean, like
Yeah.
he could flip around and well, all the if you look at his list on here, it's like Image everybody. He like wrote for DC, Eclipse, Image, Malibu, Marvel. Uh, he did some animation work on Batman the animated series, Dungeons and Dragons animated
Malibu,
series,
man.
Superman.
Malibu. That's one not a lot of people probably know about is Malibu.
Well, yeah, I've got quite a few old Malibu books that I got. I bought like this big lot of comics one time, and I got like all these weird like indie imprints and stuff and publishers. And I got a lot of Malibu stuff in it too. So I've got Destroyer Duck somewhere around here. I've got that book.
He was assigned to DC for a lot of different things. I'm reading here, and it kind of sucks. He was slated to write a series for the Spectre, but he wanted to watch the last day of shooting of the Howard the Duck film, and he missed the deadline for issue 1. So they assigned another writer to Spectre. I would have loved to see a Gerber Spectre book. It probably would have been weird and out there, and I would have loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it's surprising that they wouldn't. There's got to be. He must have had scripts done for it or something. Like maybe one day they'll print it or do it.
But Gerber, I mean, he's won Eagle Award for Howard the Duck. So Howard the Duck #3 was an Eagle Award winning book in 1977. It won multiple awards. Howard won multiple awards in 1977. Eagle Awards for humor, favorite new comic book title. He was nominated for favorite comic book writer.
It's so weird that people don't think of him as such a non-character, and it's like people almost lump him in with like the Star Comics characters. And it's like, no, Howard is an in continuity canon character that's been there since the 70s. And you know, every character knows of him, like from Captain America on down. They all know he's a guy that exists.
He keeps Spider-Man on. He has Spider-Man on like speed dial nowadays. Like like Howard always says, like, you know what, I know Spider-Man, and Spider-Man, he's like, oh, you know, he's like, damn it, you know, I know if I get involved with Howard, weird shit's gonna happen. But Spider-Man at the same time kind of has this fondness for Howard. Like, there are characters that truly do love Howard. Like, Spider-Man has a fondness for him. She-Hulk has a fondness for Howard. She has gone to bat for Howard multiple times. Even though he doesn't have much cognizance, Man-Thing and Howard have a very special. In fact, Howard's usually the only one that can control Man-Thing.
Yeah, well, Franklin Richards as well has been known to be in contact with the Man-Thing telepathically.
But one of the few characters, him and Franklin can do it all.
Yeah, he's a god.
He is a god. He's a god coming back, because we know him and Valeria are coming back, which will be a show. We're gonna do a show on the Fantastic Children.
Oh yeah, the whole force coming back. You know, Reed and Sue aren't far behind.
Oh, not far behind at all. But his run-ins with the Man-Thing, his ability to just kind of go in there with other heroes. He's good with Machine Man and the life model decoy of Dum Dum Dugan. They've teamed up multiple times.
It's weird that, like, I think books that are kind of in the same spirit as Howard the Duck was in the 70s, books today that are almost more in the spirit of what Howard the Duck was than Howard is, are like Superior Foes or like Gwenpool, that are books that just kind of like Superior Foes is more like canon, kind of these old washed out villains, but they're like it shows like their daily lives, like villains doing stupid shit like behind the scenes, and then Dr. Bong is in that, so there's a direct reference to old Howard the Duck in that book, and that's kind of in the same spirit as Howard. Gwenpool in a way, because she's I really like that book, and it's getting canceled, I think, but I really like that character. She was a person from our world that somehow was pulled into the 616 Marvel universe, and knows it. She's like, almost her name is like Gwen Poole, I guess, but I mean, in a way, she's kind of like Deadpool in that she can break the fourth wall in a way that she knows she's a real person in a comic book world, and she knows everybody's secret identities, and then people freak out on her because she knows who people are. She's like, hey, and they're like, oh, how do you know me? Who are you?
Howard, if anybody wants to read more about Howard, you can go out. There's the Howard the Buck. It's going to cost you a couple bucks. The Howard the Duck Omnibus.
Yeah, those are expensive.
They're
really nice. They're really nice
books. And the good thing with the Howard the Duck Omnibus is not only do you get all the Howard issues, you get the Man-Thing issues, but you also get Foom. You also get his appearance in Foom, Friends of Old Marvel.
Yeah, that just kicked off again recently, and I got the first issue.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get the issue. My shop didn't get it, which kind of sucks. But it's that one is all in color. It's beautiful. It usually will run you about $100 or so, unless you go on see if your shop maybe on Free Comic Book Day is running a sale where maybe hardbacks, trays are 50% off. Or something like that, and then you can pick that up. Yeah. There's also,
if you got one of those bookstores that's like half price books or whatever they are, that I don't know if that's even still around anymore. But there was one here, and they have a lot of people drop off graphic novels there and stuff, and you can find a lot of this stuff.
If you want cheaper, there is the Essential Howard the Duck book. Now, the Essential line from Marvel, those are black and white. There's no color in those. But you'll get you'll get the Man-Thing stories, Adventure into Fear. You'll get the full run of the first series of Howard, and then Media Duckling is its own trade, and then the newer books, the newest series, the 2 series for the all new, all different Marvel. Those are in trade. So make sure if you want to know more about Howard, you go pick those up. Really good fun reads. I think people will have a lot of fun reading those and just hearing his, his social commentary from the 70s, is in 80s is amazing.
And you'll be surprised how that character developed over the decades and how important he ended up being through the 90s especially.
And he still makes appearances today. He's been in both the Guardians movies. He's been in Ultimate Spider-Man, the TV show. He's been in the Guardians TV show. He's been in, he was in Hulk, Agents of Smash.
I still think they're making a big mistake not having him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They should just have him hanging around S.H.I.E.L.D. They should do that storyline and have him trying to get his citizenship and just keep bugging the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like he just hangs out at their offices and refuses to leave.
That would be
so hilarious. They just let him hang around.
Now, next week, we're going to be doing one of Chief's favorite characters. Next week, we're going to be talking the origins and the history of Bruce Banner, the strongest there is, the Incredible Hulk.
That's right, the Banner Hulk, the one and only. We'll get into some of the other Hulks too, but I mean, mostly it's a Banner Hulk talk.
Banner Hulk talk. So, with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. This is the end of the main part of the show. Next up, we're going to be talking some DC Comics. Before we do that, I want to remind everybody, we got the YouTube out there. We're on the Stardust app, so you can check out our movie. At least for me right now, we're getting Chief hooked up on that.
I got to figure out. My phone won't accept it. I got to find out why. And it could be as simple as maybe like rebooting the phone or something. I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll check that out. Make sure if you comment on our YouTube videos, comment on a relative video. If you have a comment, make sure you go to the relative video and comment on that. We're getting the year rolling. We're gonna be putting some more movie commentary up there. We're making our list, checking it twice for the next movies we're gonna be putting up there.
I've got some good ones coming. It's going to be worth the wait, everybody, because I got some more Red Brown coming your way. I got we all love Red Brown. We love his toddler-like trundle, and his feminine scream. We love him. Well, I love Red Brown. I could watch everything the guy does. But I've got much more Red Brown and some other Filipino action movies. Got some good stuff coming.
So, with that, let's hit that spoiler alert because it's time to talk this week's DC Comics.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. The Renegades are about to spoil this week's DC Comics.
So this week, Chief, we actually got the first in the new Age of Heroes books that DC is going to be putting out. Did you read Damage?
I did not.
Okay, let me.
But I do. Wait, no, I did not. That's the Hulk, the DC version of the Hulk, right?
Yes.
No, I read my typical books, Batman, Superman. I did read finish up the Super Sons arc, and let's see, Batman, Superman, Super Sons, and Justice League this week for me.
I got Damage, Nightwing, and Batman, and Aquaman. So good little variety there to talk about. So Damage, that's going to be the big book this week because it's that first issue of a brand new Age of Heroes books that's coming out. And Damage, they're saying it's straight out of the pages of Metal. It's because even on the cover of this book it has DC Metal, Dark Knight's Metal on it over there. So I'm reading this book and I'm seeing.
I'll probably pick up the hard copy now since it sounds like it's probably pretty cool. I can see in here mirroring a lot. Like we said, this kind of looks like a Hulk type character. And I can see things that mirror not only Banner, but also the Red Hulk from U.S. Avengers. So, because the same way that Hulk can only stay Hulk for like an hour, Damage can only be Damage for 1 hour a day, it looks like. So, the character, I don't know much about the character right now. This book, there was not a lot of setup of who this character is or what it is. The character is a soldier who was experimented on. He breaks free as Damage and starts running amok. There's this other soldier who says he should have been Damage, and he gets into like a Hulkbuster type armor to try to stop him and gets his ass handed to him. The colonel who created Damage looks like a female Nick Fury. I mean, eye patch, scar down the face, the whole 9 yards. The coolest thing about this book is the colonel is looking at the damage that Damage caused. And she just goes, it's not, she's talking, they found the corpse of the pilot that was transporting Damage. And she looks at it's in a body bag, and she looks at it and she says, it's not your fault. And then somebody off screen goes, no, it's yours. And she turns around and it's Amanda Waller. And Waller says, because you fucked up, I gotta clean it up, and I brought Task Force X. And then you see the Suicide Squad. So introduced to the regular DC universe.
Yeah. So, and now I am a huge fan of anything with Amanda Waller. I think Amanda Waller is one of the greatest characters DC's got.
She just got a hold of Captain Cold, by the way. So, in the latest issue of Flash.
She is. I love it. So, but it's kind of the same premise where there's a soldier, he becomes this Damage character, and the dialogue is that you can hear his thoughts like, you don't need to destroy, we can be better than this, trying to control the beast. So it is very Hulkish.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where this goes with this book. There's other books in this new Age of Heroes that I'm looking forward to, like the Immortal Men. I'm really looking forward to.
They've hinted at that it is a dual personality kind of thing too. It's like it's because it's the dual nature of Banner is that the Hulk and Banner are really two separate beings, and mostly hate each other.
Yeah. And that's kind of the same way here. But like I was saying, there's some of these, the new Age of Heroes, there's some books I'm really looking for. Like, I'm looking forward to the Immortal Men. And I'm looking forward to the Terrifics, because that's like Mr. Terrific. It's Plastic Man. I'm really looking forward to that one because of the return of Plastic Man. I read a preview of that. It was only like a couple page preview.
Been in that egg a long time.
Yeah, he's finally coming out of the egg. And maybe we'll find out why everybody fears him so much.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. All through, I always wanted that since like Dark. I don't know a ton about Plastic Man's backstory, but since like Dark Knight 2, I know he's been in that weird egg thing at least, and it's probably, I'm sure it predates that by some time, but they treat him like he is like a doomsday device, pretty much. They keep him in that thing, and it's like, what? Why is he so powerful, and why is everyone terrified of him?
Yeah. So Damage, interesting first book. I love the appearance by Amanda Waller because immediately, I mean, you look at the Nick Fury lady, and she's intimidating. But as soon as Amanda Waller comes in, you could just see that woman pissing her pants because she's face to face with Amanda Waller. And anytime Amanda Waller's got to show up to clean up somebody's mess, you know it's bad.
Well, yeah, she's got a Phantom Zone projector.
Yeah. Fucking nuts. So there's that one. Now let's move on to Batman because this one it's very interesting.
I really liked it. I thought it was good,
but it's just
I thought it played to the nature of Bruce Wayne exactly what I thought. I thought the nature, every character was well written as they should have been.
They are.
In the story.
They are, and I did so this book, it's continuing the Super Friends arc that they're doing right now, which was Superman started off with it, and now they've got it's now with Wonder Woman, and I like the beginning where Jim Gordon, he sees the bat signal comes on and he gets all pissed and he's like, who the fuck turned on? Only I fucking touched the bat signal. Yeah. And he gets to the roof and it's Wonder Woman and he's like, oh, Mrs. Wonder Woman. And and I like that Batman was like, you could have just used a Justice League communicator, and she's like, yeah, but I always wanted to kind of use the bat signal.
Yeah, I wanted this to look like fun, so I wanted to put it this way.
So I liked that. So they made a promise to the Gentleman, who's been fighting this horde of demons in like an alternate universe for thousands of years.
Yeah, in Earth time, a year has gone by, and time passes there. You don't age there, but superpowers don't work there. And you have to be a good fighter, and he's been there for a year, which is, in that world, thousands of years or whatever.
Yeah. And so Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne had made him a deal that anytime he wants to take a break, they will come in and take his place for, like, a day. Like, he can have one day off, and they'll come in. Yeah. But a day is, like, years in that, that time frame. So they're fighting this horde, and meanwhile, the Gentleman is in Gotham with Catwoman, and he's explaining to her how time works there, and you can see Catwoman's getting a little worried because an hour their time is like a year in that world.
Yeah, and it ends up they're there a decade.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the final. I don't want to ruin the final panel of the book, but I have this thing lately, I don't know, maybe it's my old age, where I'm like, just let my heroes be happy, quit fucking with their love lives.
They look pretty happy to me.
Yeah, I know they look happy, but I mean, come on, Bruce, it's been 10 years there, but I don't know if it's like, it's like only like a few hours in Gotham time, but it's still kind of like, it's 10 years in that universe.
It's like a lot of times passed. I'm sure Bruce got some feelings. But, the way I look at it is like, okay, the guy is defending not only our world, many worlds from this horde of demons. He's taken it upon his own back to stay in that world for a decade and fight these demons with Wonder Woman. And Catwoman's great and all, but Wonder Woman's kind of like the big show. She's kind of like the big time. So you get your opportunity with Wonder Woman's giving you the okay. Even Catwoman's gonna say yeah okay. All right, I'll let that one slide.
Yeah.
It's it's a Wonder Woman. It's a bucket list kind of thing.
It's every man's bucket list is to be with Wonder Woman.
So, hey, I'm not gonna fault Bruce Wayne for that. No man should.
All right, so I mean, it's a good book. I drawn really well. I really like it. I like that they, it's still keeping in with the Bruce Wayne Catwoman going to get married, and I'm sure I'm pretty sure the next panel, the next issue is gonna. This is a teaser, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, what happens next?" And nothing's really gonna come of it.
I like that. I like that this last two issues of Batman have been these kind of weird I mean, even though this is part of an arc, they've been these kind of self-contained stories the last couple months, and it just shows what a great writer Tom King is. Like that he can write the big arc and then write the short form arc too, to where you're not buying 12 issues to finish the story or 20 tie-ins. So I mean, it just speaks to how good a writer he is. That these last couple issues of Batman. And but I like I said, I think it's keeping all of these. It's keeping Batman, and also it's in a weird way it's expanding Batman's personality, and you're getting to know more about who Batman is with Tom King, while also still keeping him grounded to the DC universe and what Batman has traditionally always done. But it's cool that Tom King's be able to find new things about Batman to keep people interested. I mean, the character's been around almost 80 years, and Tom King's making it fresh. So good on him.
Yeah.
And the artwork, the people that replaced Capullo on the art team are just fantastic too. The artwork's been great.
Definitely a pickup. Definitely a pickup this week.
For sure. Superman this week is kind of not. It wasn't my favorite this week. But it was also another one of those, just kind of one-off kind of stories. It was a story about Superman took a bunch of kids with cancer to the Watchtower, and we're showing them all the shit in the Watchtower and giving them a tour and everything and letting them. And then he took them to the moon, and it was just kind of like a nice superheroes doing a good deed kind of a story. It didn't really play into anything this month. Mm-hmm. Just kind of one of those one-off kind of things. I mean, it's a nice story, but it's I guess it's kind of like a break in between, because the Mr. Oz thing is just kind of deep and screwy with old Jor-El lore and stuff, and Action Comics has got that going on along with Detective Comics with the Tim Drake thing. So I'm guessing Superman's just throwing us another one of those little break issues with the sick kids and going to the Watchtower and little jokey things, like one of the scavenger hunt things they got to get is a picture of Batman smiling. So Batman finally smiles and they get the picture, and it's kind of corny, kind of feel good kind of story, but it's all right. I love Superman. I don't find any fault with Superman. So that was a good one this week. Also, I read Super Sons, and that's finishing up the arc with future Tim Drake, or Savior, which I guess is what he's called now. He absorbed the Jonathan Kent solar flare that he put off, and it kind of, as far as we know, it disintegrated him, but I think it kind of sent him off into some weird parallel world or something. I don't know exactly what it did, but everybody thinks he's dead now. But then they go back to the Fortress of Solitude. I believe Superman takes Jonathan Kent and Damian with him, seeing as how Batman trusts Superman with Damian, I guess. So they go there, and Superman's wondering if he should allow Superboy to hang out with Damian because of everything that's happened, and Damian and Superboy kind of convince him that they should be able to, because they'll watch out for each other. And Damian's his heart is starting to thaw, and he actually is really, he went through, risked himself to save Jonathan Kent. So Jonathan Kent and Damian are super tight friends, but Damian is still every time he mentions being his friend, he's like, "Oh, shut up!" It's like he just says shut, like he doesn't want to admit that he's his friend. He's kind of like his old man in that way, but they are, and so that turns out pretty good. And they go to the Titan tower, I guess, is just in shambles and destroyed. So they let the Teen Titans have use the Watchtower for their meeting or whatever. And Damian puts forth the vote that he wants to make Superboy a member of the Teen Titans, like a half member of the Teen Titans, and then a full member on his 13th birthday. And he's all confident they're going to do it, and the Teen Titans vote no on it. And they don't want Superboy, and they think that he's dangerous possibly, and they still don't know what's going on with future Tim Drake. So that was disappointing. And Batman happens to walk in right at the at the vote before Damien can like argue in favor of it, and he says, "Well, the nays have it. Let's move on." He just kind of shuts that shit down, and but that's the kind of the end. Damien goes to find him, and then he kind of says, they kind of talk about how he's still going to try to get him in the Titans, and they're still friends and all that shit. But it's a pretty good book too. I like that arc is wrapped up finally. And we can get back to the business of Metal and Doomsday Clock.
It is. Aquaman, I liked it. It's setting up something big for the future of Atlantis. They're still doing and this is something I really like about Aquaman, is that it's focusing so much more on Atlantis. And in the nation of Atlantis. And
I wondered, is that Aquaman Lost or whatever storyline that's going on, or is the one where he's like hiding out in like the slums of Atlantis? Yeah, I'm gonna get that when it comes out in trade. I really want to read that.
It's really good because for a while they thought he was dead. They thought Aquaman was dead. The only ones that knew he wasn't dead was Merc? Merc. Which is the one that they thought killed him. So he was hiding out in the slums as the Aquaman, which everybody thought he was just like a phantom of the dead king protecting people of the slums. And what I like about this is it shows the different districts of Atlantis. It shows the slums. It shows those that have
That's why I wanted to read it, because I saw some of the art from it, and it's showing like how the descending order of how the higher people live more up in the higher waters or whatever, and like down in the trench, like all the slums, like it gets darker and darker down in the
and that's where you see more of like the mutations and things like that. And so now what's happening is Mera was able to break through. So the king of now, Wrath, who took over the throne after the death of Arthur Curry, he enacted this ancient magic called the Crown of Thorns, which is this impenetrable magical thorn barrier that encases Atlantis. And nothing can get in or out. Well, thanks to Garth from the from Titans, Mera was able to break through, but because of the magics, Mera, when she broke through, her ability to breathe water started disappearing, and she started actually drowning. So they're keeping her alive with different magics and air supplies. And because of her, Aquaman has had to come out and say, I'm still, at least to the widowhood, I'm still alive. And at the same time, King Shark, who was in Suicide Squad for a while, he's now in Atlantis, and he's a gang lord. So Aquaman's been trying to get his gang to join a resistance to overthrow the king. Well, when he finds Mera there, they tell him Mera's only got about 10 hours to live if she can't get back to the surface. She has to get back to the surface, breathe that air in order to live. So they have to take down this Crown of Thorns. And Arthur is talking to the head of the widowhood. He's like, but I thought, you were behind the coup that got me out of power anyway. You didn't want me to be king. And she said, you're correct. I don't want you to be king. We have somebody else in mind. He goes, well, yeah, that was Wrath. They go, no, Wrath was only supposed to be temporary. We have our next ruler of Atlantis in mind, and we know who it is. And they go on to explain Mera will be the next ruler of Atlantis, because she's of royal blood, and she can bridge the gap between the Zebels and the Atlanteans and bring peace to Atlantis. She couldn't do that if she was the queen to King Arthur, but she can do that as solely the queen. So now they're playing into it that even though Mera and Arthur love each other, Mera has a strong sense of duty to Atlantis. She has, she may not like it, but she has to do what she has to do. So Arthur is now saying he's come to grips with the fact that Mera will be queen, and he's going to have to. They're not going to be able to be together. So it's real. I mean, there's a lot of political stuff in it. It
frees him up for more stories with the Justice League and shit.
And it also frees him up, even though he loves Mera. There's a new character, Dolphin, and I love this character. So Dolphin, she's one of the mutants from the slums. So she's a girl, but her arms are scaly with like webbed fingers. Same with her feet. She's mute. She can't talk, but she can emit blinding flashes of light. So she can like iridescent light. And I think she's kind of gotten the hots for Aquaman in the book, and his interactions with Mera, you see her kind of watching from like the shadows, and she at first she doesn't like that he's putting so much with Mera, but then when she hears that they're probably not going to be together, she kind of has this smirk on her face. So it's really good. It's the artwork is amazing in this. It is beautiful artwork.
It looked good, yeah.
And it's a really good story that it's all, other than the parts where it's Mera goes find Garth and all that. It's 100% in Atlantis, and that's what I love, is that it's in Atlantis. It's not out of the water. It's dealing with Atlantis, and I really enjoyed that. So that's definitely a pickup. Aquaman has been fantastic ever since New 52. I loved everything Aquaman's done since New 52. And then Nightwing is continuing the story of the Judge, which is a character that can influence people like normal people to murder. And this one actually goes back in history to like his first, like it tells the story of when he was first Robin, like 1 month into the job, and they come across the Judge in Bloodhaven. Him and Batman, there's murders going on in Gotham and one in Bloodhaven, so they go to Bloodhaven, and they meet up with Betsy or Babe Ruthless or Betsy Ruthless, something like that, who is now a casino owner in Bloodhaven, and her and Nightwing reminisce about the first time they met and fighting the Judge because the Judge is back and that he needs her help. So it's a good little setup. It's a good little interlude in this story arc that sets up for the rest of it with the Judge. It's another good one.
Yeah. The last one that I read was Justice League, and it dealt with this copycat guy that was he kept a Green Lantern ring in some sort of containment box that drained it of power so that it couldn't fly off to find the next Green Lantern that it was supposed to go to. And he was some kind of weird, like, whacked out super fan that was like attacking people dressed as Hal Jordan, and he's like said that Hal Jordan is the greatest and all the other Green Lanterns are punks or whatever. But it turns out he was like some super fan that even helped build some of the systems in the Watchtower. And they ended up catching him pretty quick. He had Simon Baz in some sort of containment field, and thing in his neck. And Simon Baz, his willpower, supposedly he's like the Simon Baz has become almost like a nuclear bomb type lantern. He can do things without the ring. Like, he's able to do feats of will without the ring. And he ends up just willpowering his mind over this machine the guy's got him hooked to. And he rips the cord out of his neck, and he realizes that the guy wasn't able to get the ring off of his hand, but with this manipulating machine, he was able to make him think that he'd make him not be able to see his own ring. So he thought he didn't have his ring until he got rid of this machine. All of a sudden his ring appeared, and he was able to blast out of this containment field thing. But it's kind of interesting. Simon Baz has been kind of an interesting Green Lantern since he's come in. Like, it seems like the Green Lantern's book, which is kind of his book, and the other new novice Lantern that's with him. I can't remember her name is, but it's the girl that's with him now. But they've also, like, the last few stories in Justice League seem to be a lot of Green Lantern focus. Mm-hmm. But he's actually come into, like, everybody thinks of Kyle Rayner as, like, the most powerful because he wields all the rings. He's kind of like the universal lantern. But Simon Baz has been able to, since he started in New 52, he's been able to actually will things without the ring, like just his own power. He's been able to overcome things with willpower. So and he's almost kind of like I think he's more powerful than Hal Jordan as a Lantern, and possibly more powerful than any of the Lanterns. So it was pretty interesting. It was kind of like this has been going on a while, and I guess this is kind of the end of the arc, I guess. But they end up getting the guy in the end. Just a long story short, they catch the copycat guy, and it's pretty good. So that's my final book for the week.
Every week, of course, we're going to bring you our DC reviews. You can pick up these books on Wednesday, the same day the show is aired, at your local comic book store. So please, if you like anything that you hear, go and support your local comic book shop and pick up these books from DC Comics.
Yes, indeed. Do that. Read more books.
Read more books. Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book.
Top ramen.
And if you ever want to feel saved, you can always go watch a good Estes Perkle film and enjoy life to its fullest.
Yeah, I recommend everybody, if you haven't gotten a chance to go to YouTube, go to the Cinema Snob Stone Gremlin Productions and watch the Believer's Heaven review.
Yeah.
The audio, my favorite. I seriously almost choked laughing because I was kind of not paying attention and was doing something else, and I looked up and it shows that weird audience there, and then it just cuts to Brad Jones. He goes, "Is this fucking audience for real?" And oh man, I was choking, I was dying.
Every week we'll be back with a new episode, reviews, and new commentary. You can follow Chief of Space Chief 75. You can follow me at the Nerd Rage Renegades official Twitter, NRDRG Renegades, and of course, Facebook.com/NRR Truth Radio. Stardust app at NRDRGE Renegades. Instagram is Nerd Rage Renegades whenever I start putting more stuff on there. YouTube is on, that's Nerd Rage Renegades on the YouTube. Go check out my new gameplay footage of Blue Reflector.
Leave relevant comments.
Leave relevant comments to us two sad giant man children. And Crystal will tell you all the podcast apps and podcast stations you can hear us on.
What did I do? What do you mean two? I'm not even in that video.
And so Crystal will tell you that.
The Nerd Rage Renegades are on the air every Wednesday on Podbean, Stitcher, Player FM, iTunes, Google Play, and every Thursday on GamingRebellion.com, Filling the Void Podcast Network, and now iHeartRadio.
So until next time when we talk some Banner Hulk, the strongest there is. Chief.
Yes. I'll be prepared for that. I'm going to be into that big time.
Chief, oh my God, we're in a virtual world. We're giant man children in a virtual world.
Dancing.
Crab walking. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Nerd Rage Renegades.